We'll just note there are no petitions, and then we'll go to item 10. And we've got Gary and John here. Great. So, hello. Everyone will have read the paper. If there are any introductory remarks, then we'll go through our questions. Yep.
To be honest, I think we've had a good conversation about this, so we'll take the report as read. We'd be happy to take any questions.
Great. So I've got Aaron's moved it. Aaron's moved the staff recommendation. Tim seconded the staff recommendation. I'll go Yanni and then Sarah.
Cool. Thanks. Which of these options will enable this project to be completed the quickest? Which of these options will enable the project to be completed the quickest?
I don't think that's a question for me, Councillor. I think that's a question for the previous speaker, to be honest. And not being nasty, but I can't answer it.
In regards to option 2,
yes.
Did you hear in terms of what the deputation had said that they were expecting that would be a grant plus retaining the loan? Was that considered? And if so, why was that ruled out as an option?
So the main reason for option 2, we didn't put that forward as our preference. Was the first thing is we don't think it meets the criteria for capital endowment, and from a staff viewpoint, that's how we have to assess it. The second thing was the email we had received on how capital endowment would be used would be that 150,000 of that would be used to repay the loan, and as Murray said, that would give 100,000 for cash and capital. Did we consider putting the two of them together? Yes, we did consider it, but not for long. It didn't seem to make a financial sense to the council to write off. Oh, are you asking to maintain the loan?
Yeah. So
probably the easiest way to deal with this is there are options in the paper. If there are different options that people want to put up, they can. Yeah. But so you could ask a question around what you're thinking, if that would be the.
I'm just trying to get a steer.
I mean, the staff are entitled to put their options up.
Yeah, which is great. I'm just trying to get a steer of, in terms of the group, which is their preferred option.
Well,
and what I heard was in the group. In the response,
and you had a chance to ask that.
Was that one of the preferred options was option 2 with the loan? That was what was discussed at the workshop. So,
okay. I think Gary's, so just in the interest of Gary's been really clear that it's not a question for him, and we did have the team here for a deputation, but I think they're signalling option 2.
Generally, that was our preferred approach, but with the concern that the capital endowment process might be quite long-winded, we don't understand that.
All right, no, that's great. That's
so. Then, can I just clarify with staff? If we vote for option 2 today, obviously you've got option advantages and disadvantages, but effectively, it is just a straight approval from the endowment fund, and the resolution doesn't mention the loan.
No.
So we can make that decision today to allocate funding from the endowment fund to this project. We could note that it's inconsistent with our policy and give reasons why, as would be sort of standard practice, if we wanted to.
Absolutely, the table can do that if you wish.
Cool, thank you.
Okay, I've got Sarah and then Tyler.
Thanks.
Just a bit of clarity.
Just actually on resolution 4, so not actually on the options themselves. I think we've had a version of resolution 4 in the past with other community funding kind of things, and I think the advice that we got was that actually it's not possible to stop people applying for things, and you can't hold any council to future decisions. And so in the past, I think when that resolution's been put up, we've actually removed it, and I'm just wondering if we can get some advice on that.
Councillor Templeton, it's
because we've had those removed before because you can't hold.
Okay, so the question's been asked.
Yeah. It's a noting provision, and in this case, it's really only specific to this particular project, not the council's general support of any other projects that work.
I know, but we've had this resolution with other projects before. Oh yeah, I'd just like, can I just check in with the mover and seconder to see whether you'd be happy removing that? Just because actually you can't stop people applying for things and things. Yeah.
Just for clarity on that, Sarah, my understanding was that was for the delivery of the building, so they can't come back again on getting the building finished. But if they come back in a year because they're running a community...
It just says the whole Otakaro Orchard project.
Yeah, so I don't want to have a debate
maybe
about
from legal
this.
about the...
So let's not have a debate in questions. So the question's been asked around whether that amendment can be put or not. That resolution can be put or not. So we'll come back to it. But can you have a look, Elizabeth?
Or Sam, can I just clarify with staff? Is it in reference to finishing the building that you can't come back for more money to, but in a year's time for an education program, they completely different project, they can?
Yes, and that the noting provision says this Otakaro orchard project. So it's very specific to this particular project.
Yeah.
That's the intention.
Yeah, so I'm comfortable to leave it as is because it's just this. But if in 3 months' time there's whatever else and they're coming back, that's fine because that's new projects at that site. It's not this project. This is about getting this one out the door and handing it over. The baby's birthed, give it to the parents to look after it themselves.
Okay, so I've got questions from Tyler. No, I don't. So the advice I've had is that it can be put. So Sarah, if you want to amend it and remove it.
Oh, I'm just going to vote against it.
Yeah, cool. Okay, any other questions? No. So this has been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Yanni?
Foreshadow option 2. So,
Cool.
just to say, like, I really support this project. And the longer we leave it, the greater the risk is that, what happened this morning happens again. So I just want to see this project up and running. I want to see it open. It perfectly aligns with so many of our strategies that we have for both share an idea, central city plans, and also actually we had a food resilience strategy. We've got a healthy food action plan. I mean, this ticks so many boxes for those of us who are fortunate to go to World Rivers Day on this part of the riverbank and see the potential for this to operate as a cafe, to see the popularity of it for affordable access to healthy food with a really cool social enterprise model. I think this is the way forward for our central city. These are the sorts of projects I want to see more of. I'm really happy to support it as much as we can today to get it done as soon as possible. I would love to see it open for Matariki, to celebrate Matariki in the central city with this building being open if we could, and appreciate that there's a lot of work going on from the people involved, and obviously they've got a lot of things that they still need to do. But from my point of view, I just did want to foreshadow option 2 as being something that would get this project done quicker and would provide more support.
Thank you. Anybody else? Celeste? Yeah, it's foreshadowed. Yeah. Pauline?
Thank you. I'll support the staff recommendation. I would have liked to have, given them a bit more money for the capital work, but it seems that this is a fairly agreeable solution for today. However, I will not support number 4. I don't agree with putting that down anywhere. I mean, there's nothing to stop anyone from coming back and applying. It's up to us to make a decision at the time. So I don't like that there. And I know the expectation is for them not to come back, and I think they know that, but we don't know what's going to happen in the future. So I would not like to see that as a firm resolution, and I really don't think it needs to be there, and it really doesn't hurt to take it out. So I would please, encourage you to vote against number 4. Thank you.
Okay, so let's put Sarah and then Aaron.
So I think we're in a little bit of a tough position at the moment. So my preference is to have option 2 that Yanni has foreshadowed, with some of that money going to pay back the loan. However, if I vote against this today, and then vote for and say I want to vote for the foreshadowed option, what I can see happening this afternoon is a tile going up on social media saying I voted against funding for the Otakaro project. And so it leaves me in a tough position of having to vote for this when I would prefer a different option. And I think that does a disservice to the community group. And so I'd like to add an amendment to this one, which includes $100,000 of capital endowment funding into the staff recommendation. So it would be switching 3 into 3A and B. So 3A is for gives and 3B is allocates $100,000 from the Capital Endowment Fund towards the project. Yeah, yeah.
Just circulate it to the relevant staff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that way we can do that first vote as an amendment for the additional funding and then still vote on this.
That's fine. You're entitled to put amendments up.
Yeah.
Wouldn't do them based off social media tiles, but that's your call. Aaron.
Yeah, in advance of.
Yeah, that's that potentially changes it. Would your wording be? And obviously they'll probably take
So
it.
just so Aaron,
should they?
so just
Are you happy to include it?
no.
in
So
the,
so stop.
Yeah.
So just to be clear, this is an amendment to the motion that's on the table. So we're not going to incorporate it into the motion. We're going to vote on Sarah's additional $100,000
Okay.
as a separate vote. Yeah.
point of
First.
order, the mover and seconder can choose to incorporate it into the
The
original.
movers made it clear he won't. So
The mover was Councillor Kewen, and he was asking if he could include it.
He said he won't. Yeah.
No, he was asking if he could.
Oh, I thought you said. Oh, okay. Well, it's your call. Sorry, I thought you said you weren't.
Well, it makes it awkward, and I would have preferred that we had discussed this prior to, so we could work with staff and the organisation. I was actually happy with where staff had landed on this. It's not the perfect outcome, and the fact that resilience is in their name, I think, is quite important because that it means many things on this project. Getting this project finished and out the door and not messing it around anymore, I think, is incredibly important. It's so close to being finished, and I'd be happy to take, not that we take bets around the table, but I'd be happy to take a bet around this table that this project, of every anchor project post-quake, for dollars spent, will have the biggest, will get the most number of tourists. For every dollar spent, this one will get more tourists than the stadium, more tourists than Parakiori, $4 spent. And I see some faces wincing around the table, but I'll bet half a latte, anyone here, that and normal milk, that will be the case. This attraction set in, and it was Peter Beck that said it before in his sermon, which I thought was a great one this morning, was that, and I forgot, that is inside a park. It's the Avon River Otakaro Park. When it was put on the inner city map in the redesign of Christchurch, it was the newest park in New Zealand, and it was to frame our river. And I think we forget that. We forget that that was what happened as we turned the city around to look at the river, and this project sits on the edge of that river, and we'll pull numbers like, and I know some people around the table probably don't believe it, but we'll
Aaron,
pull
what
numbers.
about the 100,000? Are you going to accept that?
Well,
He's in
That was the question.
I'm using up my debate
He's in his
time.
debate time, which he's got 30 seconds left. Yeah.
The screen.
So hang on. Just remember, we're still a functioning council, so he's entitled to finish his debate. So let's not have interjections. Let's let him finish his debate. Yeah.
I'm fine for that $100,000 to be voted on, and if it's the will of the table, it will be there. Just like number 4, if it's the will of the table, it'll be there, or it won't be there. So I'm happy to hear what anyone else has got to say on it, but it wasn't the original staff recommendation, so it won't go on this. But if the majority round here support this and the $100,000, then that will be what gets across the line.
Right, thanks. So that's very clear. It's an amendment to the thing. Okay, so does anyone else have any discussion? Tim?
With regards to number 4, that's really our policy. We put that in there for this. We as a council can ask staff to change the policy. So to sit here and say, oh no, we're not going to vote for that, I don't think this is the right place to do it. I think as a council, let's look at the policies that are part of this funding and we can change it. I mean, that's what we do, that we're council, we can do that. So I think just picking when this comes up every now and then and saying yes or no is a waste of council staff time. I would like us, maybe we review the policy and make the changes that we want to, rather than going through all this palaver in a public meeting. It's ridiculous. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm happy to second the 100,000 from capital endowment from Sarah. The way I'm reading clause 4 there is that it's basically saying not to come back during the construction time. After that, you can come back for contestable community funding schemes, which sounds like they can come back and strengthen communities. So to me, that sounds like it's okay. So I'm keen to set these guys up to have the best chance to launch and get this completed and get it open and let it become the fantastic asset that it can be to our city. The cafe running there, I think it's an ideal place. And what they're doing there is second to none. It's an absolutely brilliant project. Great to see it community-led. Thank you guys for what you're doing. And really want to give you the best chance to get started and get this open.
Following on from Aaron's words, I agree that this is a really significant project for the city. I think it was one of the only green anchor projects for the city in terms of actually, not just about bricks and mortar, but about community, about resilience, and it's important that we finish that. And it's also about recognising that the community came together and had a vision for what we wanted as a city through share an idea. It was a community-led process, and this is about completing the process. And good things do take time. Look at Pages Road Bridge, still waiting on that. But it is important that we see these things through, and the sooner we do it, the better. So I'm supportive of this, and I'm also supportive of the additional 100K. So I look forward to voting on that shortly.
No, oh, Jake?
Yeah, I mean, I'm supportive of the staff rec. I think it's nothing. The idea of and the extra 100,000 can be financed elsewhere. It should, because it saves us 100 grand. The commercial revenues will pay that off. I don't see that alternative financing is necessarily going to speed or slow the project. It just lowers the exposure that ratepayers have to the project, and actually that means there's another 100,000 we can spend to support another community project. So I think let's take a cautious approach, and I think the staff rec is pretty pragmatic. The group said they were happy with it. Let's keep a watching brief, and if we have to fund additionally down the road, then those options, as has been pointed out, are always available to us.
Okay, so I think everyone's had their say on it. So, look, from my point of view, I won't support the extra $100,000. I find it very quite ridiculous, actually, that if there's something on a social media toll that someone can come in and get another $100,000. If we did that across the city, we'd be like Wellington, where they literally have no money, failing infrastructure, and actually a situation where things are going horribly wrong. And I just don't think we should be like that. So let's put the amendment first, which is so we'll go Sarah's one.
We just want to check it's within the terms of the fund.
So what the team is saying is they need 5 minutes to talk about whether they can actually put that. So let's just take 5 and then come back. We're good to go.
Yep.
We're good to go. So, the mover and seconder have had a think as well, and they'd just like to incorporate it into the motion.
Okay.
So they're quite happy, against my advice, I might add, but they're going to put it into the motion. So if we get the team to put that into the
So
substantive,
people who don't want it just vote against 3B. Yeah.
I have to rework my tile now, Sarah. Okay. Right, so we will put, how do you want to do it? Do you want to just put B, we'll just put the whole thing?
Have to put the whole thing.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, can you see my, you probably can't see my screen, can you? Yeah. So what we'll do is we're going to put 1 to 3. So can everyone see that now, or can I just see that on my screen? Can you
That's
see it?
fine. That's all good.
You're happy?
They shouldn't be coming back on this project and throw another 100.
Now that we've put this in. Yeah. Yeah.
So okay, all right. So let's just put. You want 4 separately, don't you? Yeah. So let's put 1 to 3 as a vote. So all in favour of 1 to 3.
Aye.
Against? Well, that's me. No. So that is carried. Yeah. No, it's been incorporated into the substantive. So that's been carried. So that's carried. So then we'll just put 4. So all in favour of 4. Aye. Against. And we'll just note that for Pauline. So that is, and Celeste. So that is carried. Great. Okay. Well, good luck with the break-in, Haley. Yeah. So that is carried. Okay. Right. So let's go to item 7, Peter's report, please.